Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spicy Bookish Podcast with me, Nikita.
And me, Tia.
Also known as Ginger and Spice.
Beautiful!
So this is finally, our Why Choose Part 2 podcast, which should have, the original plan was that it wasn't even a thing. It wasn't supposed to even be a whole thing. But obviously the original pod for Why Choose, which was all in one podcast, it wasn't usable footage, so we split it into two, and then part 2 was supposed to be sort of like a bonus one, but then time just ran away with us, so we just didn't have time to film it. So it's now a part 2, and I think we said this in part 1, but actually the benefit to splitting it into 2 parts was that we managed to add in a couple of extra books, so it doesn't make it so... It didn't make all the books being in one podcast so long and lengthy, and it meant that we didn't have to rush either talking about them. We did have mic issues, again, on the last pod that we filmed, which was the one that's just gone up, actually. That was supposed to be May wrap-up, and basically that just ended up being Spicy Book Recs from Patreon, because actually it wasn't any form of a wrap-up at all. And there was supposed to be 2 extra books in there that had to be cut out because didn't have time to add them back in at the end. So it is what it is.
It's really fun doing what we do, because when you come across issues, or you just have to roll with it.
I think that's the benefit to having, like, people have producers. It doesn't even have to be a big production to have a producer, but it's just not something that we've ever really felt like we needed. And for the amount of times that, like, we do have, like, mic issues or whatever, it's just not worth it.
No.
Like, paying somebody to sit there with us, or even to log in remotely to the software when we record to make sure. Like, and I can physically see the software right now with my eyeballs.
Those eyeballs can see that shit. We saw that shit the other day, and we just carried on.
We were like, it'll be fine. we were literally like, oh, what was that? What just happened there?
What's that sign that it says on there? Never mind. Let's just crack on.
Yeah, carried on for like another 30-odd minutes.
Yeah.
Until it got to a point where I was like, nah, I've got a niggling feeling that something's not right. And I literally just stood up in the middle of Tia talking, walked over, and I was like, you're going to have to stop. It's not it's not recording on the actual mic. So we cut out quite a bit of footage from that because obviously it wasn't usable. And by the time we realised and got everything reconnected again, it was too late. I mean,
literally like that close to the end of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it cut out the last 2 books.
Yep. That's because we didn't stop. We did see it flash. That's our own fault. Yeah. And by that point, it was getting a little bit late and Tia had to drive home and stuff like that. So it was just best to just end it there. So one of the books that was included, I don't think we're even going to talk about at all. That was Breaking Haley. Wasn't worth it. And the other one that was supposed to be included was actually The Secret Club by Ruby Skye. So Ruby, if you're listening to this, because I know you listen to the podcast, I'm really sorry. It was supposed to be in the last one. And we had a great time talking about it.
We really
If that's any consolation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't usable. And by the time we realised, it was too late to redo everything.
But it will be included. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
Because we are ready to talk about that in depth. I want to talk about those 8 men. I had a great time talking about them.
However, Ruby, we are going to be talking about the Secret Stalker today. Because it is, in fact, Why Choose?
Yeah,
Why
baby.
choose?
Why choose?
Yeah, that's it, really. That was our sub-story. So please feel sorry for us.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be really great.
So, before we move in to talk about all of the books that we're going to do in this podcast, I think we may have mentioned it in the part 1 anyway and said, like, oh, by the way, these are the books I'm going to do in the next one. So, if you were in that podcast, you've probably got an idea of what's to be expected, if you remember. If you might not, that was like 2 podcasts ago.
It's totally fine.
Also, you might not even care enough to remember. Whatever.
Which is also fine.
Yep, absolutely. But before we get into that, talking about the books, I do have something I want to talk about whilst it's fresh in my brain, because I feel very giddy about it.
I know what's coming.
And I need to, when you read a book and it's so fucking good, but you don't talk about it for like a month, and then you come to do the review and you've lost all that kind of gumption you had for it. Even though you know it was fucking incredible, you're not like hyped as much as you were. Yeah. So I just want to talk about it really quickly here, but I will say, so I'm going to talk about Off Campus. Spoiler! That it won't include spoilers, but that was me saying spoiler. I'm going to talk, anyway, whatever. I'm not making sense. I'm too excited. But I mean, I don't know if Tia's going to manage it, but I am going to talk about it in the Girls' Night In podcast. So I've had to kind of reevaluate the books I'm going to talk about in the girls' night in, because oh my god, I need to talk about this. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to read all of the Briar U books, like every single one of them, but I'm at least going to do the first two. And I feel like that would be enough because it kind of coincides with the main characters that we've touched on in the TV adaptation. So I am buzzing to talk about that. I feel like I should still be excited about it, as excited, because by that point I will have only just finished the books. Whereas right now I'm knees deep in the series. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm excited about the series, and then I might do the books, and if I've got time I can rewatch it after I've done the books.
Oh, that's like what we was like when we done Heated Rivalry.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no way I'm doing what we did with Heated Rivalry and never talking about it.
Yeah,
because
I know.
that was just a fucking waste.
Yeah, we messed up there.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, and I'm fucking buzzing about it. So if you follow us on socials, so today, day of filming, yesterday was the day that I posted on socials that I'd just started off campus the previous day. So 2 days ago from now. When you listen to this, obviously it's going to be a Sunday, so it'll be nearly a week ago. Did we all follow along with that timeline?
Oh, got it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I think I actually lost myself in there. The main thing that most people messaged when I put on socials, on stories, Instagram stories, that I had started watching it, so many people were like, oh my god, finally, or why did it take you so long? And listen, I was waiting to read the book. Like, I'd seen it everywhere. It was impossible. Even if you hadn't read it or watched it, it was impossible to avoid it online on social media. However, I was like, I really want to read at least the first book before I go into the series. I don't particularly like watching the series before I've read the book. But I was like, it literally got to a point where I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. Anyway, long story short, I started off campus. I can't even lie. It was genuinely one of the best experiences of my life. Oh my god.
Really? Wait.
Oh, it was so fucking good. It was just so good. It is everything that you would want in a book to screen adaptation, especially for like a spicy kind of college romance. Oh,
Was it better than Heated Rivalry?
I personally enjoyed it more than Heated Rivalry.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch it now, aren't I?
I don't know if you would because it's not as spicy.
Right.
So I think you liked all of the goings on.
Oh,
in
yeah,
Heated
because
Rivalry.
I don't vibe very
I mean,
well
it's
with like,
spicy.
college-based things
It's like
on TV.
like there's boobs. I mean, it's steamy as hell.
Well, I love a good tit.
I was just more saying that nothing was like covered up. There is the steamy scenes in there, and then there's the scene where he says, "Show me and I'll show you," and then they do it separately in front of each other.
That's nice.
You know,
Yeah.
and you get a shot of his toes curling. Wonderful. Which should have been an ick. The toe curl should have been an ick.
It should have.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
that's
an ick.
big.
I was like, that's fine. You know, I just, at some point, he's going to have to do something. I've actually seen people saying this. Like, he needs to do something to give us all the ick. Because right now, I'm fucking balls deep in everything Garrett Graham.
So I haven't even watched it, but like the obsession that I have when Connor Story had all of his videos all over Instagram, I'm now watching all of this guy's videos on Instagram because I'm pretty sure you fucked our whole situation up.
Oh, 100% I've fucked our algorithm.
So there was one of him dancing, and I'm pretty sure I've watched it 21 times.
Where he lifts his top up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I simply cannot even. Oh my God.
Even I know. And like, I was looking at that and I was like, I have no idea who this guy is, but I presume he's from this.
Yeah.
And I can't get enough of this video. And here I am. Yeah.
You know his real name's Philip as well.
That's rogue.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of actors do it, don't they? They use their middle name and their surname and they drop their first name a lot of the time
okay.
for like a stage name or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I've just had such a good time. Like I think I did like 4 episodes, 3.5 episodes, and then stopped, and then did like 2 episodes. So now I've got like 2 and a bit episodes left, I think, something like that. Because they're long. They're like a full hour long. They're not like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
They're like full hour long, which, by the way, makes a fucking difference. I will say. That extra 15 minutes makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fucking brilliant. And it's definitely made me want to read the book more. I reckon if I had waited to read the book before watching the show, I may have possibly never even gotten round to it. Because Other things would have come up and I've been like, I'll read that instead. I'm like not that bothered or whatever. But now that I've watched the show, I'm like, literally, it's a fucking priority for me now.
Yeah, do you know what as well? Elle Kennedy, her books, they've got that ick factor, haven't they? Because you know, like you look at the front and you're like, I'm never going to read that.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And I'd done the same thing with Heated Rivalry. If I'd have looked at that, I'd have been like, well, I'm not going to fucking read that. What do you mean?
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Based on the covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm still having a great time. Honestly, getting a wine out and putting those episodes on. When I tell you, I was beside myself those first 3 episodes. Those first 3 episodes were just cinematic masterpieces. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. The Ali and Dean dance. I had seen that on socials prior and I didn't understand. Like I didn't get why it was such a big deal. It was everywhere and I didn't get it. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, now I get
I'm
it.
in.
Now I fucking understand, because what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? It was, oh guys, I just had such a good time. And honestly, when I put it up on socials, I apologize now. Because I put up so many stories. I put so many stories up. I just flooded our stories with stories.
Yeah, but I think that's nice.
Him.
That's nice that you enjoy something.
The engagement, though, was through the roof. Literally, I was so overwhelmed by all. I didn't put it on there because of like engagement. I just fancied watching the show. And then it came on and I was like, guys, oh my God. I've just watched it. And everyone was like, haha, welcome to the cult. And I was like, oh my God. Someone else was like, oh, welcome to the prison. And I was like, wait, that's a more accurate description, actually, because I am locked up. I am in a prison of my own making right now. And that prison consists of me and Garrett Graham on the internet. And that's it, really. Honestly, the amount of story replies were fucking insane. Absolutely insane. I didn't know you were all so knees deep in this. I mean, it's bad.
Me neither. I literally went onto socials and there was like 45 messages just in one section. If you know, there's like 3 sections, and just one section had like 45 in there. And I was like, you know, like that meme where Homer goes into the bushes.
That was you.
That was me.
The messages.
I am
It
definitely
was
not getting involved in this.
fucking insane. Honestly, just before Tia turned up, I was on Amazon and Etsy looking at off-campus merch. I have never, genuinely, even Heated Rivalry, like, it was so fucking good, but it didn't consume me like this.
Really?
Like, I'm not the first, this is by no means a joke. I'm not just saying this. The first thing I thought of when I opened my eyes this morning was Garrett Graham and Dean. Genuinely, Garrett and Dean. First thing that came into my brain. Not my family, not the cats.
Yeah.
Not my child.
That's you're part of the cult now, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. I'm fucking buzzing about finishing the show, reading the book, and then rewatching the show. I'm fucking buzzing. And then I can talk about it in the Girls' Night In podcast, and I think that should align quite nicely, that timeline. So excited about that. And also, because we're doing Emotionally Devastating before we do Girls' Night In, I think it'll be a nice little kind of reprieve. Do you know what I mean? From all the tears and shit. So, yeah, buzzing about that. So, we're going to start with The Secret Stalker by Ruby Skye today, which is a why choose for anyone that didn't know.
Was fricking why choosing in this bad boy.
I don't even know where to start with this, honestly. Like, oh my God.
This had 2 separate sections to it. It was like reading 2 books, and I fucking enjoyed both of them. I had a great time.
It was basically in 2 parts.
Yeah.
So you had like, before we get into the rundown or anything, you had basically like part 1, which was sort of like a mystery. So she's got this like mystery online dom, and she doesn't know who it is. And then she works at this kind of like high-end escort service via a golf club. And some of the guys that she does jobs with all of a sudden want to start to get to know her personally. And that is not allowed at the Clarendon.
It's not allowed.
It's not allowed. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is actually happening in my life right now? Poor old Sophie was getting a little bit bored. So she was like, do you know what? Fuck it. Might be against the rules, but I'm just going to see what happens. And we're kind of on that journey with her of like trying to figure out who's the mystery dom. Why are all these guys just all of a sudden like interested in her? You've got chapters from like mystery men. So you've got like a user 669, and then you've got Mac, who is her daddy Dom, as well online.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well, who is user 669? Who is Mac? Why are all these guys just all of a sudden trying to like get to know her personally? Like, why have they switched things up? What's going on? And then once the revelations kind of come out, the book flips and changes into then what I guess we would deem to be part 2, which is like the more love story of it and the progression of their relationship romantically, and some plot kind of kicks in as well, especially towards the end. And I actually enjoyed the aspect of it being in 2 parts because I really liked the mystery at the beginning, I will admit, and then you got to really enjoy the why choosiness in part 2.
The why choosing this was my favourite part. There's also, at the end, there's like this punishment section, which I fucking enjoyed too much.
And that punishment section actually was off the back of the plot kicking in.
Yeah.
Obviously, these books that Ruby has written are hella spicy. Like, so fucking spicy. This is not as spicy as the OG trilogy, Clarendon Playmates, for Roxy, but they are still hella spicy, obviously. And that scene with the punishment, that was, oh boy, oh wow.
Oh. Also, what we haven't mentioned is the fact that this shit is interactive.
Yep.
Which means you are basically Sophie at some points. So you go to a section and then it'll say, you've got an email. So then you go to a website, take you to the website, and then you watch a video of Mac just really coming at you with some good stuff.
Yeah, Mac just being Mac.
Yeah.
So did you do all of it? All of the interactive videos?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So I did the first interactive video, and actually, because Ruby has said you don't have to do it interactively. You can just read the book and not interact, if that makes sense. So you don't have to go onto the website. So at the end of certain chapters, it'll be like, dear reader, you have an email, like Tia said, and then you go to the website. I watched the first one, but I felt like it threw me out of the book a little bit. So I, as you know, I very much like to read bang, 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 bang. I don't take breaks. So if I'm reading, I'm like, I'm going to smash out 200 pages back to back, no breaks, no stopping, no breathing, no peeing. So when I had to stop to go to the website, I was like, oh, actually, that felt like that broke my flow a little bit. And then I was faffing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I watched the video and then I was on my phone, I was faffing. Yeah. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go through the whole thing, and if I've got time at the end, I'll just binge watch all the videos.
Yeah.
And I did not have time to binge watch all the videos. But I did go back and do one, because I think, was it chapter 20?
I told you to?
I think chapter 20. That was hella saucy. Oh my God.
So I've actually spoken to Ruby about this specific chapter, and she said that it was the guy who done it. It was his idea to do that. And I was like, fucking fair fucks, because...
Yeah.
Woo! Ooh,
I mean, he didn't hold back in that, I tell
yeah.
you. Yeah, so that's the other one I did. I did the first one, which I think was at chapter 3, and then I went back and I did that chapter 20 specifically because you told me to.
Yeah.
But I didn't have time to go back and do all of them. But it is entirely up to you whether you want to do it interactively, whether as you read it, whether you want to do it after, or whether you just don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
That is entirely at reader's discretion. But the option is there. And I actually really love the idea of it being interactive. Do you remember when you were... Totally not the same thing, by the way. But do you remember when you were younger? Does anyone remember Goosebumps? And you got to pick how the book went?
No.
Oh my God.
I don't remember that.
Did you never read Goosebumps?
I did, but I don't remember that.
At the bottom of the page, it would say, if you want to do this, go to page, say, 50. But if you want this to happen, go to page 52.
No, I don't remember that, but that makes sense.
So you got to gear how the book went, and it made it interactive. And I fucking loved that when I was a kid. So really, obviously, an interactive book probably could have been right up my street, but as I've gotten older, and especially because of time constraints, I like to just smash it all out in one go.
Wait, isn't there a book that we read, not recently, but where you pick how the ending works? I'm pretty sure. Have I made that up? No, I haven't.
You haven't made it up.
I'm pretty sure that there's a book where there's 2 endings, and it's she ends up with one person or she ends up alone, and you can pick which direction you go on.
Oh, I can't remember.
But I really like that idea.
I do remember it, yeah. I can't remember what it was, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if I read it. I feel like I'd remember if I'd read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, if you so wish to, you can make it interactive. Yeah. And it is fabulous. If you decide not to do it interactively, I would recommend just going back and watching the chapter 21.
And also,
just for shits and gigs.
There's one where he's in a shower.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So watch that one as well. God, he said some words, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He said some words and he did some things.
He did some things.
He didn't actually do the things, I think. But it's insinuated.
Yeah, he doesn't just whip it out.
Yeah.
And you can see it. But
the insinuation is there.
It's covered up.
And some grunts and groans, etc. Some background noises.
I had a great time.
Yeah,
I really did.
Okay, do you want to give a rundown of this one?
Absolutely, I will. So, as we know, Sophie is part of the Clarendon Playmates. So, that is like escort service, but it's more of a golf club situation. So she ends up getting an email come through from a guy called Mac, and she's like, this is really weird because normally all my emails come through Sandy, which is her boss. And she's like, oh, I shouldn't open it. This is the wrong thing to do. But she opens it. And she reads it and he says, take the electro job. And she's like, well, normally these things don't come through like this. Anyway, so she ends up talking to him a little tiny bit and then she's very, very intrigued. He then says to her, look, I'm going to give you some software, which means that we can do video calls and no one will know about it and no one can like hack into it or anything like that. And she's kind of like, I don't think I should do this because what if I get like bugged or something like that or I get told off? She does it anyway because why the fuck not? So her and Max start talking. They end up doing a video call and he's got like this black mask on so she doesn't know who it is. And he's like, look, I want to be your online dom. And I want you to be my submissive. I want you to sit in front of the laptop, angle it at you. I want you to be fully naked, ready for me to tell you what to do to yourself. And she's like, oh, I kind of like this idea. This sounds good. Bear in mind, he's not paying her or anything like that. But she's kind of like, yeah, I mean, he looks fine. I'll roll with it. So they have that first sort of conversation. And then you get like a dialogue afterwards from a member 669 who's like, she's mine. That Sophie is my woman and I'm going to ruin this whole plan. So Mac, who is the guy with the mask, he's got like this whole plan which kind of unfolds as we go along. And member 669 wanted to be part of the plan, but Mac was like, no, if you were part of it, there'd be too many guys for her to deal with. So no, shunned. But this member 669 person ends up breaking into the software and is watching the whole thing unfold. So she goes to her first electro date and she just like turns up and it's this guy that she already knows. So it's someone that she's been working with for years. And she's like, what the fuck? So this guy called Rory, she's like, why are you here? And he's like, well, you know, like we're just going to do the old job role. So they do the thing. But the thing that changes for both of them is that they end up having like this bigger connection. So he ends up kissing her, which he hasn't done before. And they end up making love. And then he says, do you want to go on a date with me on Saturday? She's like, oh God, I'm breaking so many rules. What am I up to? I can't be doing all of this stuff. And then she says, yes, obviously, because why not? And then everything just sort of unfolds from here. So we've got Rory, we've then got Mac, who she knows, but we don't know who it is yet. We've got member 669, again, who she knows, but we don't know who he is. And then we've also got another guy called Flynn, who she ends up doing shibari with, who also asks if he can go on the date on Saturday as well. So there's 4 guys in total. 2 of them we need to find out who they are, and 2 we already know that there is more to come. So that's like the beginning, and then obviously the second part of it is all of them actually coming together. And boy, did they come together. Woo! It was sexy as shit.
So as I mentioned earlier, towards the end of the book, some like plot does kick in and it kind of like all kicks off a little bit. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting that. Like, it was kind of hinted to in little parts about a specific person that may or may not cause trouble along the way.
Yeah.
So then we end up in a situation where we've got actually a bit of a bad guy. Like a bit of a baddie. And he is closely related to the Clarendon, which is the golf club that she works at and moonlights as an escort via the golf club. So he's involved with that golf club, but very high up. So I'm not going to say anything more than that, but...
Do you know what? It came out of nowhere as well. I was having a really great time. I was like, oh, look at these 4, just really going to town on each other. Girl can't even come up for air. And then fucking it just kicked off in the car park.
Yep, all kicked off. Shit went down. She ended up tied up and all sorts of stuff. And then punishments did be had.
Yeah.
By her.
Oh, it was fucking awful as well. One of them cried. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. One of the guys
cried. You can
Still managed to get it up though.
Oh, of course. Every hole's a goal in this game.
Even if I'm peeping my eyes out.
He's
Still
like,
gotta get it in there.
You just sit down for a couple of seconds, but you'll get it up eventually. He just had a little sit down, had a little cry. And he's like, oh, I'm hard again.
Yeah.
Oh, just... I'll
Just
go
shove it
up.
back in her gob.
Yeah.
That's what he did then.
Get in there, son.
Yeah. But it was great. I mean, she was like hella punished. There was like paddles. There was
What's the canes?
what's that? What's it called specifically?
Flock. No.
Flogger.
Flogger.
That's it. Yeah.
Paddle, flogger, an actual cane.
Yeah.
And then there was one more thing. Because they all had to do it, didn't they? All 4 of them.
Yeah, because there was 4 things, and it was how many times
14.
each?
Because she'd...
Oh, you need to be careful about how we say this so we don't spoil it. So the punishment was... So, wait, let's try and say this so it's not spoiled. So basically, she had to be with each object the same amount of times that she had done it with all of them.
Yeah. Up to that point.
Up to that point.
Yeah.
So it was 14.
Yeah.
She was hella honest about that as well. I was like, you could have just said 4, 1 each, and it would have been believable.
Do you know what as well? They'd only known each other for about 5 days.
Yeah, she could have just been like 4.
She was at it like a fucking rabbit.
Yeah, she was like way honest. I'd
Yeah.
have been like, I've only done foreplay.
Yeah, but I reckon that guy would have known. He was definitely
Watching him.
Yeah.
Which is creepy when you
Very
think about it.
when you think of who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give a very, very mild spoiler, and it's not towards the whole plot because you still won't understand, like you still won't get it. But 2 of the MMCs are brothers. I'm not gonna say which 2. And one of my favourite scenes, I have to mention this because it's one of my favourite scenes, and you won't understand why it's my favourite scene if I don't tell you that they're brothers. Like that's why it was so good. So one of the brothers takes her and lifts her up and deposits her straight on the pee-pee of the other brother. And then he also comes in and rams it home. So we end up in a DP situation and specific words are exchanged. You know, I can feel you rubbing up against me kind of words. And I was like, oh yeah, it's wrong.
But we fucking love it.
But it was great.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, that's hella taboo, and I am so here for it. Yeah. That was my favourite scene anyway, so.
My favourite scene, which I actually still think about to this day, because I think that'd be fucking lovely, that.
I know where this is going.
Do you?
Moose.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Flynn and Rory, so that's Shabari and Electro jobs. So they take her out on a date, which I said earlier anyway. Take her to a little Italian. They're having some dinner. They're like, will you be with all of us, please? She's like, yeah. And then they get to the dessert, which is chocolate mousse. And they're like, we eat our chocolate mousse differently. So they were like, your dessert. So they get her on the table. Bear in mind, I'm pretty sure they were saying about how they could see everyone out the windows. So they're in quite an open
I thought that too when I was
situation,
reading it.
which was even hotter. So it was Flynn who rubs his whole chocolate dessert over her nether regions, laps it up with his tongue, and then just hammers it home, starts pounding on her. And then Rory covers his all over his pee-pee, so at the same time he gets her to lick it all off. And it was just delightful. Oh, I fucking love that.
I remember reading the original 3 books. Or what book was it? Was it the second one? The first? No, Splashing was in the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I remember reading the original book and being like, oh yeah, that's not...
With the cake, where she sat on the cake.
That's not for me.
I fucking loved that.
Food place, get that food back in the fridge. That's not for me. That is going nowhere near my nether regions. You're asking for an infection.
Oh, 100%. But reading about that, fucking eat that up big time. I fucking love chocolate dessert.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Like if it was like, oh, he's put it on his peen and then you can lick it off and that's the end of the story.
Oh, I see.
That peen is not going up inside me unless you've had a wash.
Yeah, but his peen, Flynn, who did go inside her, he didn't have chocolate dessert on him.
Yeah, but she had chocolate dessert in her.
Yeah, she did, yeah. Yeah, big time.
So.
Yeah, fair play. And yet, still my favourite scene.
You know, you can not vibe with like kinks and still have a really great time.
Yeah,
because
for
I was like,
sure.
this is fucking great to
Yeah.
read about. Would I put chocolate mousse in about my areas? No, I wouldn't. That's personal for me. But you're very much like, you are not spitting in my mouth, son. Whereas I'm like, yeah. I'm ready.
Spit
Do you know
away.
what I mean? Spit away. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's everyone, it's subjective and, you know, everyone's got their different things. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the same book just because you have different, you know, preferences, let's say.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, that it wasn't my thing, but yeah, it was great. I mean, it always is, isn't it? You know, even in the original book, when she did the whole splashing situation with the cake and all the cucumber and that, you know, I was like, oh, that wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. But this is so fun. This is super fun.
I see. I would definitely do it. Chuck some sushi on me. Use me as a fucking board. I'm all over
Okay, so
that
that's
shit.
fine. You could like put sushi down your body, all that kind of stuff. Licking it off nipples, fine. You know, maybe even close to the area.
So you're saying no to a full cucumber?
It could go on the goal.
Eaten.
It could go like mousse or whipped cream and stuff like that. It could go on the goal post, but it can't go in the goal.
Got you.
Yeah?
Okay, we can have the goalpost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
But if it goes on the ball, then the ball can't go in the goal
Oh, I see. I totally appreciate that
as well. And if it does go in the goal, then the ball can't go in the goal because it'll just make it worse.
Reasons that we're doing this. It's the World Cup coming up, so we're going full football now. No, okay, I get you. See, but I wouldn't mind if they'd done like a little tomato in there just to taste. That's fine. No?
Sure. Oh my god.
There's something very different between having a full mousse in your vajayjay to having just a tomato.
It's still got stuff around the outside. What if... No, because then that defeats the object. I was going to say you could put the tomato in a condom and then put it in. Wrap it up in cling film, put it in and then pull it out, but that defeats the purpose of being able to taste it on the... But then I don't know, whatever. If it's your thing, whatever. But I'm like that about like outside activities. You know, when they're like, it's fun in principle, the idea of being like thrown down in the mud in the woods and stuff like that. But no.
That aftermath.
Mud,
of that, no,
bugs, no, absolute no. I can't. Like, you better bring a blanket. And you better prepare the area for it being flat. Get rid of any bugs.
That's you being chased through the woods. Hang on, stop a minute. Where's the blanket?
Yeah.
Before
Can you just put
we
your coat
start
down?
getting down and dirty, if you could blanket that.
Yeah.
I also need a snack.
Can you just
Snack
clear
time.
the area? Also, let's just make sure there's no cobwebs, because I don't know if anyone has ever gone in actual woods that don't have a path. So, you know, when you're reading about like people that just like run through the woods, I'm really sorry, Ruby, we've gone off on one now. But you know, when you read about people that just like run through the woods and they just run anywhere, I don't know if anyone has ever gone into the woods where there is not a path laid out already, but there is spider webs everywhere. Between branches, the spiders are fucking massive. They are everywhere. There is eggs, like spider eggs, all sorts of... There is shit everywhere. Would not be me, you would 100% be running into a spider. 100%.
Yeah, fair play.
And that every time I read it, that's all I think about. And I know that because I've been in the woods when we used to take the cat walking. And I so many times very nearly walked into a spider.
Yeah, that sounds fucking awful, to be fair. I mean... In hindsight, let's be honest, a lot of these, let's just keep them in the books.
Yeah. Things only acceptable in books.
I mean, I haven't done food play, but it's not really on my radar.
No.
To be
It's
honest.
also a waste as well, isn't it? Do you know how much food costs nowadays?
Fucking well expensive.
I know, yeah. You tell me you're going to buy a cucumber and then waste it doing that when you could just have a vibrator.
Easier, innit?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you can wash it and reuse it. There's no wash and reuse the cucumber.
If you're going to do that,
I mean,
if
you
you're
could,
going to do a
but-
cucumber, you've just got to be in a position where you're happy to eat the whole cucumber afterwards.
Or lose the money, you know?
To be fair, it's like 60p, innit?
Yeah, it depends where you go. But, you know, people that are like using cakes and stuff, cakes aren't cheap.
How have we ended
I
up
don't
here?
know.
Why am I out here trying to justify that you can fuck a fucking cucumber and it's
60p.
fine? Yeah, so 60p though, isn't it? Just eat it or throw it away. Like, how did we get here?
I don't know. We've taken it too far. I'm
Yeah,
really
but-
sorry, Ruby.
All in all, read Ruby's books because you experience a lot of things that can either be acceptable or not.
Yeah, but either way, they're going to be fun to read about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a great time. As with all the other books by Ruby, it's just such a fun
Yeah.
time. It really is. Should we do stars and chili peppers?
Absolutely,
And then
we
we'll go on to the
should.
next book. What did you give it stars?
I gave it 5 stars and I gave it 4.5 chilies.
I gave it 4.5 stars and I gave it 4.5 chili peppers. Yeah, it definitely wasn't as spicy as I would say the first ones. But, you know, it's close but no cigar situation. It was still hella spicy.
Okay, my first one that I'm going to talk about is The Lords of Pain, which is books 1 and 2 in the Royals of Forsyth. So this is by Angela Lawson and Samantha Rue. So I read books 1 and 2 and I kind of got to the point where I was kind of like, I could just wait for book 3. Like, I did enjoy myself, but I wasn't like addicted, if that makes sense. So this is bully romance, virgin FMC, college setting, forced proximity, forced wide shoes situation, and it was good. I had a good time. So we have got Wrath, Tristan and Killian, and then we have got Story. So in the prologue we have got Story that is kind of cornered into a laundry room by Wrath and Tristan. So her stepbrother is Killian and they are his best mates. So they've had a few drinks that night, they've cornered her, they're like taunting her because they found out that she's a sugar baby, and they're basically like, yeah, but you're a virgin, and like giving her loads of shit. Anyway, so Killian walks in and he's kind of like watching the whole situation. She looks upon him and she's like, please help me, because I think your friends are going to fuck me and I don't want to fuck them. And he's like, do what you will. You go for it. He actually really hates her because he thinks that there's something going on between her and his dad. And there's like this sort of situation where she seems to be able to get away with everything and he hates that. So anyway, so they are all like taunting her and she doesn't know how to get out of the situation. Tristan forces her to her knees, ends up fucking her throat, and then Wrath like touches her up and she's like, oh, she's wet, she really enjoys it, you know, like just guys being pricks. Anyway, so she goes with it, maybe enjoys it, we don't get told that, but it gives her a little bit of trauma. So a few years later she ends up, so as she's a sugar baby, there's this guy called Ted that has been stalking her, and she's kind of in a situation where she needs protection, she wants to be looked after. So now that the 3 boys are lords, which means that they're very high up and they can definitely look after her, and they're looking for a lady, she's going to go and apply to be that lady. So she goes to the college, she applies, and she's like, look, there's something that these other girls can't give you that I can.
Think of it like in the Lord series when they take a chosen.
Yeah, like that. There's something that I can give you that these other girls can't. I'm actually still a virgin. They're like, no, fuck off. No, you're not. No, you're not. And then Killian ends up actually touching her on the inside to get to her barrier. And he's like, oh, fucking hell, she is. She's still a virgin. Yeah, nice. So they end up taking her as the lady. So that's where like the bully romance sort of kicks in. So all 3 of them decide to come up with this game where everything that they do with her is going to be scored. So if they touch her in public, or if they end up putting some fingers inside her or anything like that, it will be scored. Whoever gets the best score at the end then gets to take her virginity. So, of course, 2 of the guys end up really liking her as it progresses. She ends up really liking them, and then Killian is still the guy that is kind of like the bully romance situation. And, I mean, it was a lot of fun. Like, I enjoyed myself. I feel like I wish that there was more spice in this, even though they weren't taking her V-plates. Like, because they were doing this whole, like, gaming situation where they were like... So one of them was like using his fingers in her, like in front of everyone in like college, and like different things like this happened. But I was like, I wish that there was just a little bit more for me, given that it was like giving Lords vibes. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I mean, I still had a great time. So my favourite scene in this was, so there was one scene, so the previous night before, Killian had got her on her knees in front of everyone and basically fucked her throat. And she was like fully traumatised about the situation. Both Raph and Tristan were like fuming about it because they were like, why have you even done that? Because obviously they've ended up liking her a little bit. So that night she ends up speaking to Raph and he's like, come and sleep in my bed with me. Like, I'll protect you. I'll keep you safe. And when they wake up in the morning, he's got like morning wood. And he's like, oh, sorry. Like, I didn't mean to do that. And she's like, catches his arm and she's like, no, come back to the bed. And he like rolls on top of her and starts like sucking her nips. And then they both grind on each other until they finish. And it was just like really like cutesy and also sensual. And I really enjoyed that. So yeah, so I gave book 1 4 stars and 3 chili peppers. But I would have liked it probably to have been like a 4 chili peppers instead. But I still had a great time. And then book 2, which is Lords of Wrath. So this is where she ends up finding out about the game. That's not a spoiler because obviously she's going to fucking find out anyway. And she decides that she wants revenge. So in this one, she's trying to get her revenge on each of them individually. And then also this is where the whole Ted situation comes back into it. So the guy that she was actually running from in book 1, who is hella dangerous, she kind of brings him into this unnecessarily. So I won't say any more about this. This one is a lot longer than book 1 as well. But I will say my favourite scene in this, which was delicious. So all the lads are watching, so Tristan, Raph, and then all of their mates are all watching Killian because he's doing a game. What did he play? Baseball?
I think it was football.
Was it football?
Yeah.
They were all watching him do football.
On the telly.
On the telly. And she was sat on Tristan's lap and they've got like a blanket over them. So obviously because she's their lady, she basically has to do anything that they say. Anyway, so he ends up opening her up under the blanket and starts using his fingers on her. And then he puts himself inside. And he's like, don't move. I'm not going to move. Just let me sit there inside you. And you know, like it's that where you want to move situation.
This is probably my favourite scene out of all 3 books.
It's so fucking good. So he's like, he'll like just sort of move a little bit, like do a little twitch. And she's like, she wants to go down hard. Anyway, so all the boys are sort of watching the game and they're like in this situation. And then Raph's like caught on that there's something going on between them. So he just lifts the blanket up and can see what's going on.
I think he drops a tray or something. So he's got like a reason to
Bend
lean down. And then he kind of like has a little peek inside. And he's like, oh yeah.
I see what's going on there. So then Tristan's like, get everyone out right now. Like, I need to go down on her hard and fast. So Raph gets everyone out and then they end up fucking. And it was delightful. Because this scene probably went on for longer than it needed to. But she was sat on his cock the whole fucking time with them not moving.
Yeah, so good.
As soon as they do it, that's going to feel sensational for all involved. And it did.
There's a scene, I can't remember what book it's in, where Killian straddles her on the floor. He chases her through the house, straddles her on the floor over her chest and finishes just all over her chest and her face.
There's one where, I don't know if he was chasing her beforehand, but he does her boobs and then finishes on her face. But like vigorously to the point where she's got bruises all over her body.
Yeah, was she laying on the floor?
Yeah, I think
I think that's that scene. I think it's that scene. Yeah.
Oh, there was some really good fucking
scenes. It's because, did he have some, like, it's been a long time since I read that trilogy, but I'm trying to remember.
He's got a ritual.
He has a tradition before the game.
Before the game.
And he's like, I need to, he needs to have an orgasm or something, or he needs to come before, the night before a game or something like that.
But he's normally got, like, other girls with him. It's like normally he'll have like a couple of other women.
But she's told him he's not allowed any or something. I can't remember what it was.
And I think like the first time that he'd done it, she got really, really jealous. But he couldn't physically finish because he was thinking about her the whole time.
Yeah.
So they ended up doing it afterwards. But then the next time that he went to go and do it, he'd done the same thing and brought other girls in. And I think that's when he ended up chasing her and fucking her.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, it was really aggressive. And it was like on the floor and he just straddled her. Yeah. Tucked her arms in, straddled her.
Yeah.
And then just went to town. I remember being like, fucking hell.
He's your guy.
Oh, he was 100% my guy. I reckon if I read that series again, he might be up there in the old book boyfriend list.
I reckon he would be.
So the Dukes are actually on my 12 for 12 for this year. So I'm actually going to be starting them, like, obviously within the next couple of months. But I'm tempted to go back and do the Lords, but do it on audio maybe.
Yeah.
And just for a refresh before I start the Dukes. There's also like loads of novellas in between this series. So I think there's like 11 books out. There might be 12 now. So it's 3 for each one. So you've got the Lords, the Dukes, the Princes, and the Barons. So 3 books each makes 12. And then you've got like novellas in between. I don't think all 12 books are out. And I also don't know where she's going to go, where they are going to go after that. If they're going to do another trilogy or if it's just going to end. Or if we'll go into a situation like Rena Kent where they do their children. I mean, I don't know. But I definitely want to complete that whole series. Like the whole world. Like Zodiac style. I definitely want to do it.
Which, saying that, so the narrators are Bridget and Jake Bordeaux. I know, and they did smash it, to be fair. They were really fucking
I'm always happy when oh my God, I listened to an audiobook the other day and it was Jake Bordeaux and Bridget wasn't there. And I was like, no, this is not right.
That's not, no.
You're not allowed to do that.
No.
Who let you out the house on your own?
What do you mean you're working alone?
Go and get Bridget. Bring her back. What do you mean Bridget isn't one of the female narrators? Yeah, that threw me off a little bit, but it was fine because it's one of those things I can definitely get into it, but as soon as he starts speaking, it does take me a minute to not associate it with Zodiac Academy.
Yeah, I know.
Which is a bit wild, but never mind.
Because it was both of them, and I'd done 2 books back to back, I felt like I was family. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm with my cousins.
Yeah.
That's literally how it felt. It was great. So I gave Lords of Wrath 4 stars and 4 chilies. So I did enjoy it, but I didn't have that feeling where I was like, I need to go into the next one immediately. I just found book 2 a little bit too long. And when it kicked off, it kind of got resolved pretty quickly. And I was like, that could have been dragged out. So I actually don't know what book 3 is going to be about, but I presume it's going to be hella spicy because I think that one's quite long as well.
Okay, so I'm going to go into Stranded and Hunted now by Shona Knight. That is the Desert Island duet. So I have spoken about this on social media when we did 3 spicy duets you should read immediately, which was actually 6, which was actually 12.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it was really good. It's behind me here, actually. If you're watching on video, they're right there behind me. So this is Why Choose. It's MFMM in book 1, and then book 2 is MFMMM. So you get an additional MMC in book 2. And the end of book 1 is a cliffhanger as well. And my jaw was on the fucking floor. I was like, oh, you're joking. You are joking. Loved it. It's not like one of those cliffhangers, you know, like in Dear Reader, when you get to the end and you're like, it wasn't a bad cliffhanger. Right. I didn't know how else to explain that. But it was like a, oh, no way type of cliffhanger, which I love. We love. So book 1, which is Stranded. So the names of each book are directly related to the type of story that you get. So you've got Stranded and you've got Hunted. So Stranded, they are stranded. Hunted, they are being hunted. So in book 1, you've got Darla, who's been stranded on this deserted island for 15 years. She crash landed with her dad 15 years ago. Her dad is no longer around, and the story as to why he's no longer around is sort of trickled out to you as the book goes on. It's not just like fed to you immediately. So Darla's been on this island for a really long time. She's built like her own little world there. Like she's got a pet rock called Steve. Yes, I did say a pet rock actually. And she has a pet lemur called Momo, which was the nickname that she actually gave to somebody that she used to know back home before she went onto this island. So she had not done anything with anyone before she went to this island. She arrived on this island as a young teenager and has grown up on this island basically. So she's still a virgin. And she's very out of touch with like modern day, obviously, and technology and all that kind of stuff. So she doesn't have a clue about like references to like TikTok and what is AI and all that kind of stuff. But you know, so she's on this island. She's built herself like little tree houses. She's got like dining tables. She's got like roof over her head. She's got cutlery. Like she's made all this like really cool stuff. And one day these guys end up crash landing on the island. And she stays back at first. She doesn't approach them straight away. And there is a reason for that. She's got some trauma, especially surrounding men. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to hold off just in case they're bad people because I don't know. So she watches them for a little bit. And then after like a little while, she realizes, oh, actually, they're being kind to the wildlife. Like they're not being horrible. They're not destroying anything. They're being kind to each other. Yeah. They don't seem horrible men. So she starts to help them out. She starts like just conveniently leaving fruit around for them. And, you know, they'll be looking for something to help them build something or, you know, for shelter. And then conveniently it will just appear beside them. And they're like, where the fuck did that come from? That wasn't there. Was that there a minute ago? And you know, as the reader, you're like, guys, come on. Yeah. For fuck's sake.
Get it together, lads.
Surely.
Come on, you're better than
you
this.
would literally, because one of the first things you would think about when you were on a deserted island or you arrived on an island by yourself, you'd be like, is there any other human beings on this island? Yeah. So immediately, because it would be at the forefront of your brain, you'd be like, oh, there must be someone here. Yeah. Like, that's way too convenient. Anyway, it is so funny in the opening scenes because she's by herself and she's on this island and she's talking to her pet rock and she's talking to Momo the lemur. And she has this like little relationship with Momo, which is really, really great. And I loved it. And Momo has his own little family of lemurs. And it's just really, really good. And it's so funny. And this is Bridget and Jake Bordeaux, narrators.
Look at them being together.
Everywhere, yeah.
God, I love
and it
that
was
too.
obviously, if you've listened to Zodiac Academy, you'll know that if there's one thing that Drake and Bridget Bordeaux know how to do, it's humour.
Yeah.
Like, and voices.
Yeah.
And it was just, Bridget fucking smashed it out the park, especially those opening scenes. Oh, I was laughing. So it was giving, if you've ever watched Castaway with Tom Hanks, it was like that, but a woman, you know, a younger woman. And you know how he's got his little pet coconut or whatever it is, pet ball, I can't remember what it is now. It was like that, but a rock. And she's very attached to this rock. It's like her safety blanket. So she's very, very attached to it, yeah. And it features like the whole way through both books as well. So it's so really
cute.
Good. So eventually she ends up introducing herself to these guys because she's like, I don't think they're a danger. So she introduces herself. They sort of get to know each other. She's kind of standoffish a little bit about, you know, like how she came to be there. They find a grave. Then that grave turns out to be her dad. We already know that, obviously, as the reader, you're like, that's her dad. But the guys are like, well, whose grave is that? And blah, blah, blah. So her story trickles out because she doesn't really particularly feel like, she doesn't really want to share it because of the trauma. And oh my God, the trauma that she went through, not just with the crash landing, but some things happened after, is absolutely fucking horrendous. Like, horrendous. And when she finally says it, you're like if you think it's like, oh yeah, it's bad in that way, add a couple of more bad things. Like, it's bad. So this is actually, although it is spicy and it is why choose, it's actually more of a slow burn. So we don't get the first kiss until, now if you don't want to know what page the first kiss is on, you might want to skip about 20 to 30 seconds. Are you gone? Okay. So the first kiss is on page 243, which is quite far in just for a kiss. But because of the trauma that she went through, it just wouldn't have been authentic. And I think as well, they're on this like deserted island. It just wouldn't have been right. Like, the relationship needed to build up as well. I felt like it was right the way it was done. Yeah. The pacing of the relationship and the spice. And then things do get spicy. Once they establish that sort of relationship between them, things do get spicy. But there's no actual P in the V in book 1. That comes in book 2. And again, it's done so authentically that you feel like, actually, we're not just brushing over all of the trauma that she went through. It's being done really tastefully and really well. And I really enjoyed that, actually. And it is a theme as well about her getting over this trauma and the guys kind of helping her through it. And I will say, every single man in this book was like a green flag with very light grey tendencies. Okay. And that was nice, you know, rather than them just being like walking, you know, not walking red flags, but morally grey. Rather than just being like all out morally grey, they were just walking green flags with some little morally grey tendencies. Yeah. And again, I really like that. They were so nice to her as well. Some of the spicy scenes were absolutely insane, especially some of them on the beach. You know, there was ones where he's going down on her and then the other guy is there with his pee-pee, and it was really nice. There's no sword crossing at all in both books, which obviously I was sad about because we love a good old sword crossing. We really do. But, you know, it is what it is. I took it for what it was. That's not how she wrote it, so it is what it is. And you don't actually get, I will say, talking about the spice, you don't get a full group scene with all of them until the very end of book 2. That I was a little bit annoyed that I had to wait for. But it was authentic to her trauma and the story, so it is what it is. Okay, so my favourite scene in this, on the island, she actually has like a bucket list. The guys encourage her to start this kind of like bucket list of things that she wants to do when she gets off the island and she gets rescued. So in book 2, they are no longer on the island at this specific point, and they're in this house, and one of the things on her bucket list was to play a drinking game. So she says to the guys, oh my God, like, we're here, let's play a drinking game. Like, it's going to be so good. Like, it'll be so fun. Like, I really want to do it. And they're like, okay, fine. So they get the drinks out and blah, blah. So they all sit around in a circle. And she's like, okay, well, you're going to have to tell me. Like, I don't know any games. You're going to have to tell me what to do. So then they lay out the rules and they tell her what to do. Like, if that happens, then, you know, take a drink. And if that happens, then take a drink. Then so-and-so takes a drink or whatever. And she's like, okay, cool, this is so good. So they go around the circle and they do like a thing for ages. And then eventually she's like, wait a minute, I haven't drank anything yet. And the guys go all sheepish and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, you haven't drank like ever. So we just, we were trying to stop you from like being sick or, feeling horrible and getting too drunk or whatever. And she's like, well, that's not fair, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she ends up getting wasted anyway. She falls asleep. She's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get wasted. So she has like 2 glasses of wine and then she's wasted, white girl wasted. And one of the guys ends up taking her to bed eventually. And she ends up trying to put it on him. In the bed, and he's like, no, I can't touch you. Like, you're drunk. And she has this like little hissy fit, and there's so many reasons why I love that whole section of scenes, like the drinking games one, because the guys are all just like looking out for her, and it was just really funny because she's so clueless about absolutely everything, obviously even down to like social cues, that she just didn't even pick up on the fact that they were and she was all like a little puppy dog just ready. And then it wasn't for ages that she realised that they were not letting her drink, and she was like, wait a minute, you're all drinking and I haven't. And then when she got to the bed, like she doesn't swear in it either, because obviously her mind, not her mind isn't stuck to being a kid, but she hasn't grown up around anyone with swearing. So she grew up on her own for 15 years, so she's like 28 now, and she was like 13 when she landed, or crash landed. So she just didn't really get the chance to develop swearing into her vocabulary. Yeah. So instead of actually swearing, she'll say things like, oh, fish sticks, proper Geraldine vibes from ZA. And it was really cute, and it was so funny, and it suited the character well, and it suited Bridget Bordeaux well as well, her voice. And that's what she says in that scene when she tries it on with him and he says no, she starts swearing in her little non-sweary language, and it was just really funny. I loved the whole thing. So yeah, my favourite scene wasn't actually a spicy one, it was that one, but the humour was really great throughout both of the books. So book 2 is called Hunted because in book 2 they are, like, if you read the blurb you'll see it, they are eventually rescued, they do get taken to mainland, and then they're being hunted. So there's this whole big plot line coming through, and then we get, how did her plane go down? How did the boys' plane go down? Yeah. Like, who's the bad guy here? Because then there's the mystery of, like, well, who's the bad guy? Yeah. Like, who's orchestrating all of this? Why are we being hunted? Who are we being hunted by? And there's, like, lots of, like, different side characters where you're like, oh, is it him? Yeah. Is it him? Could it be him? And that was fun trying to figure that out as well. So it was all around really good. So stars, I gave 5 stars to book 1 and I gave 4 stars to book 2. And chili peppers, I gave 3 chili peppers to book 1 and 3.5 to 4 for book 2. Mainly because we got the group scene and we got the P and the V action with everybody as well, and more scenes of just more than 2 of them, if that makes sense. And then so we've got like little micro tropes of, like, I know a lot of people like this one as well. So he washes her hair because they really take care of her. I love that. There's loads of other like really good micro tropes in it that, sometimes you read a book and you go, oh, they've just thrown every single trope at you imaginable. It wasn't like that. It was just really nice little micro tropes thrown in there, which really hit the spot. Was it the best thing that's ever graced my eyeballs and my ear holes? No, I mean, obviously, like, 5 stars varies, doesn't it? Like, you can give something 5 stars and go, like, Alchemized, oh my god, that was a fucking masterpiece. And then you can give something 5 stars, I don't know, like a Gallows Hill or whatever. I don't think we actually gave any of them 5 stars. But you could give a book like that 5 stars and you go, that was a 5-star vibe read. Because I had a good time, it was vibey, I had fun, it was a laugh. And that's it. Okay.
My next one that I'm going to talk about is the Painted Sinner series by Elena and Blake Lawson. So the first book is called White Rose Painted Red. I actually read this, what feels like 18 months ago. So I've just been like reading through my notes to like remind myself what happened. But I remember I fucking loved it, like to the point where it was nearly a 6-star read for me. Like, I enjoyed myself so fucking much. So with these 2 books, so it is actually going to be 3 books in total, but the first 2 books are already out. So one is on audio, one isn't, and then the 3rd book isn't even out yet. So just bear that in mind because they do end on cliffhangers. So we have got Atticus, Elijah and Seven. So they're the 3 MMCs. And then we have got Aurora and her dog Ellie. And Ellie is just incredible. So she's actually a massive part of the whole thing. And I think she's totally fucking amazing. So as a rundown, so Aurora is actually on the run from her ex-boyfriend who is totally fucking awful. His name's Jesse. He's a total prick. Absolutely evil. So she's on the run with Ellie. They end up driving into someone in the middle of the road. Her car ends up being a write-off. all of her suitcases everywhere. There's a vibrator on the floor just rolling down the road. She gets out, she locks eyes with this guy that's got beautiful blue eyes and he's covered in tattoos and he's fucking delicious. Of course he is. And he's like, oh, you know, like, so sorry, like, I'm totally fine, totally fine. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on. So she's freaking out. Then two other guys come out. So that's your Atticus and your Elijah. So they walk out. And then out of nowhere, Atticus is like, do you know what? We need a maid. So why don't you just come and live with us? We'll give you 15,000 a month. And, you know, you just do all the cleaning, feed us, do all of that stuff. She's like, wow, that sounds too good to be true. Surely not. But she agrees to go. So she ends up going back to their cabin. So they live in a cabin which is literally like not even on GPS. So there's like no Wi-Fi, no phone connection, nothing. Like you can't get anything in this location that they're in. But I mean, it's fucking massive and it's beautiful. They've got a pool, they've got like a gym, they've got all sorts of shit going on. It sounded really great, I'm not going to lie. It sounded like she was winning all round until we progress into the story. Anyway, so she's living with them, she's getting to know them. So we've got Atticus, who is like the grumpy one, stays away from everyone. He's on like a health kick, so he won't eat anything dodgy. He's just like sort of the outsider that's looking in. Then you've got Seven, covered in tattoos. He's like a little bit fucking mental, but nice guy, really likes her. And then you've got Elijah, which is the golden retriever. And you know we love a golden retriever. So she's now living with them. They're having a great time. And then out of nowhere, her ex-boyfriend Jesse turns up. He comes to find her. So Jesse ends up at the house and then Seven is ready to take this man down. So he gets a bat and he carves Aurora's name into the bat because obviously Aurora can't do anything. She doesn't want to confront him. So he carves Aurora's name into the bat and then basically kills him with this bat. It was fucking carnage. He lost his shit so bad. It was great. So then he buries him in the most shallow grave in the world and Ellie ends up actually finding one of his bones and brings it back to the house like a little treat. Anyway, so that happens and then he already knew that she was being abused and so did Atticus. But like she's covered in bruises, she's got loads of cuts. Atticus had then seen on her phone that there was like videos from Jessie that was sent where she was being raped by his friends. So the killing was necessary, let's say. Anyway, so she ends up doing Seven because she's really happy about what he done. She was upset because she was like, I should have been the one to unalive him, really. But I'm glad that you did that for me. So he ends up basically fucking her into the fridge. And Atticus is like listening to everything that's happened and he's like, oh, that sounds good, that sounds really delicious, that. But he ends up going into his little office and just having a little tug. And it was fucking, all of it was delightful. It was all delicious. Anyway, so that's the start. And then because they want to give her a little treat, they decide to take her to Paris. And they're like, we're going to go and get your hair done. We're going to treat you to some clothes. You need a new wardrobe and we're going to go and get your hair done. So, of course, they take her to Paris on their private jet. So they go to Paris and what they end up doing is stealing a load of artwork. And this is where the plot starts kicking in. So they steal some artwork and she's like, what the fuck? I didn't know that you were doing this. Like, you didn't tell me that this is what we were coming here for. And then, so the artwork comes into it big time because that's how we get into book 2. So they're on the streets. There's loads of shooty. There's people chasing them. It's all going fucking mental. And then they get onto their private jet and they're like, whoo! That kicked off, didn't it? That was fucking mental. So what do they do to combat that situation? They do some DVP.
Obviously.
And they join the Mile High Club. So I just want to say on this, because this is one of my favourite scenes, is that Elijah has got an apodravia, which is meant to be the most pleasurable piercing for a man to have. Anyway, yeah, so they do some DVP on the plane. And it was absolutely bloody delicious. So now she's got a really strong connection with Elijah and Seven, but she doesn't have that connection with Atticus. So as the plot is now kicking in, so we've got the artwork situation that's just happened, and now she's kind of like, well, how does the artwork come into play here? So they end up having a conversation with her and they're like, basically, back in the day, Elijah was tortured by a guy called Ambrose because Elijah's parents, which is also kind of Seven's and Atticus's parents, because they took them both in, they were like art dealers. So Elijah doesn't really like painting anymore. He's like really fucked up his hand and all of this stuff. And he's got like bad trauma. Like he can't sleep at night. He's like wakes up screaming. And they're like, so we want to get this guy back. Like we want our revenge. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use you. So basically we told you that we wanted you as a maid for 15 grand. But that was a total fucking lie. We're just going to use you in this whole revenge situation that we've got going on. And she's like, okay, well, yeah, of course I want to help you. Like, that's fine with me. Not a problem. So, her and Atticus then have a little bit of a situation where they end up sleeping with each other out of nowhere. So they'd never had like this connection before. He was kind of like, I don't really want her here, but I know that she's got to be here to help us with this whole thing. And they end up doing it, and she like ends up really, really liking him, but he ends up properly kicking off because he thinks that she is there to like fuck up all of their shit and basically out them to this guy. So it all fucking kicks off. It all goes fucking rogue, but she's like, do you know what? I'm still going to help you anyway. And that's when we go into book 2, and it all massively progresses into this whole different story of her then trying to help them out in this situation. And fucking hell, book 2 was a fucking mess. It's still a 5-star. But the things that she had to go through, and then everything that came out, and then everything that happened at the end, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have read it, not knowing that book 3 wasn't out.
Yeah.
Probably should have waited, because it fucking went off massively. All in all, what I'm saying is, have these books on your radar, and when book 3 comes out in October, then read them all then. But fucking hell, it was so good. Honestly, this is one of the best YA I've ever read. Just the plot was plotting. Anyway, so book 2, the end of book 2, fucking kicks off massively to the point where none of them are even together. Two of them are in the same location. No one else is in the same location. And I don't know how the fuck they're all going to find each other, especially after what happened at the end of book 2. If you've read it, you'll know it's stressful as fuck. Anyway, yeah, can't wait for book 3. And that's it.
I feel like I need a nap after that.
No, me too.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. That was 2 books though.
Okay, my next one is Crucible and partially Chrysalis, which is book 2 by B.B. Reid. And I think this is Men in the Wild duet, Wild Men duet, or Men in the Wild duet, something like that. If you're watching this on video and I keep playing with my mic, it's because the stand is broken and I don't know where the screw has gone. Okay, so Chrysalis, which is book 2, I actually DNF'd that book, and I think I got just over halfway and I DNF'd it. And I'll talk about why in a second. It does take a lot for me to DNF a book. Like, I really have to be at the point where I'm like, I am so not fucking interested in whatever you have to tell me from this point onwards. I held out for what I wanted to hold out for, and it didn't live up to the expectation, so I dipped out at that point. So I did give book 1 4 stars. I'll say that straight off the bat. Chili Peppers, I gave it 4 to 4.5. There's fisting, there's DP, and there's hella group scenes, and there's like some kind of like fluid scenes, which I did really, really enjoy. And also in book 1, the dynamic of their relationship between her and the male main characters is a little bit... I was a bit confused as to what this dynamic was. It was dark, like the spice was dark. And it wasn't until you got like her POV after that you were like, oh, whew, okay, she's actually enjoying this. I would have liked to know that in advance. Thank you very much. Because I was worried for a second. We were really fucking crossing the line there. So it was dark, and the dynamic was a little bit off. Like, it maybe wasn't as clear as it should have been or could have been that actually she was all into this. Anyway, you'll understand what I mean if you read it. It leans very much to like dark romance girlies, absolutely. I will say that darker element to the spice falls off. Like, once they kind of like fall in love and whatnot, that darker element to the spice is gone, basically. So it was fine. So we've got, it's CHOOOSE, obviously. There's 3 MMCs. One of them has split personalities. He has 3 personalities. I believe this is called DID. I'm sorry if that's actually factually incorrect. I didn't fact check, but I think it's in the book description anyway. So basically, it's like buy one, get 2 free. You know,
love that for him.
You get one guy, you get 3 personalities, so you get 2 for free. So yeah, no full sword crossing, but there is some fluid scenes, some like cheeky little moments which did have me fucking gasping for air. And it is 524 pages, book 1, so it's long. Did I do it on audio? I don't remember. Again, same as you, I feel like I read this so long ago now that I actually don't even remember. I think I might have done it on audio as well. So rundown is, you've got Aurelia. She's a pop star. She's basically like America's sweetheart. So she's basically like Taylor Swift, but give her a fucking attitude problem. You know what I mean? She is a royal bitch. But it does become apparent that there's a reason to that, and it's sort of, she forces it upon herself and has convinced herself she's a bitch and everybody hates her because it's just easier for her that way. So we open up with her basically having this very public feud with another very famous person, and she does something really fucking bad. Really bad. And she's like, well, I don't give a fuck, whatever, I don't care, like, it is what it is. But her uncle, who is her manager, is like, you're going in a fucking timeout. Get in your private jet and fuck off to a cabin in the snow by yourself and go and have a think about what you've done, you stupid cow. So she's like, okay, whatever, fine. So she gets on this plane.
Was it bad, what she did?
It's morally bad.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Not like illegal. I thought it was quite funny. Personally. And I think it was Canada. She goes on this plane, she's on her way to the mountains, to the snow, and the plane goes down. She's got her whole team with her. Her uncle isn't there. She got her whole team with her bodyguard, her assistant, all that kind of stuff. And the plane goes down. So they crash. And she's basically like hanging from this tree. And eventually she gets down, and some things happen. I'm not going to talk about the in-between bits, but some things happen, blah, blah, blah. And then she ends up finding this random cabin in the mountain that belongs to these men. Now, these men have been living in this cabin in the mountain for like 9-10 years, so a long time. They've had no action for the time that they've been out there. So the guys, the 3 MMCs, we've got Khalil, and he's like a big, sexy black man with like sexy braids. Oh, and his voice. Oh, his voice was fucking incredible. Yeah, so obviously I did do it on audio because I wrote his voice is amazing. I remember now. Oh, yeah, I remember now. And then we've got Thorin. He's like a Swedish, Norwegian god.
What a
He's
combo
like
so
a godlike
far.
structure. He's got long blonde hair. He's got cheekbones for days. They could literally cut glass. And I actually can't remember what the third MMC looks like. His name is Zeke. And his other 2 personalities are Seth and Bane. And Bane you don't actually meet until midway through book 2. So you get to meet Zeke eventually, but we basically spend most of book 1 with Seth. Seth is like the golden retriever. Can't remember what he looks like, but it was more of a focus on the personalities. And then Bane, Zeke is, just to quickly talk about the other personalities, because all 3 personalities are very, very different. You've got Seth, who's like the golden retriever. Then you've got Zeke, who's like the one, he's the main host. He's the main guy. Like it's his body, it's his soul, it's his personality. And he is hella stricken with trauma. Like really bad, some really bad shit happened to him, and then this is obviously some kind of coping mechanism that happened after a situation triggered it. And he's a little bit more delicate. And then you have Bane, who is the bad guy. He's the bad one out of the 3, the one that even the other 2 guys are scared of, like in the group. They like he's like a shoot on sight, kill first, don't even think after. Like he's just like, that personality is not all there. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's the scary one. And I was fucking buzzing off my tits to meet him. Absolutely buzzing. Anyway, so Aurelia finds herself at the guy's cabin. She falls asleep in the bed. She's fucked, royally fucked. The guys come in and she wakes up and she's basically got these, like, 3 massive hunky men just staring down at her. Like, where the fuck did you come from? Like, just laying in their bed. When I tell you, like, it's so funny because the character development is obviously really good to the point where the way the guys are in the second book is polar opposites to actually how we start out with them in the first book, because they are not good men. Like, they are not good men at all. The things they do to her and with her are fucking insane. Yeah, and like I said, there's some scenes really are like hella sketchy, but we get through it. We get through it eventually. And that is the main reason, that kind of like not really understanding the dynamic at the beginning and not being too obvious is why I took that to a 4-star, because I think it could have had the potential to be 4.5, but and then there was like bits in the middle. It didn't need to be 524 pages, like at all. It just didn't at all. There was so much in the middle that didn't need to be there. There is a lot that actually happens in this book, and like, there is a lot of plot. Obviously, people are out searching for her because her plane has gone down. She's presumed dead. Then she gets to a point where she's like, I don't really know if I want to go back. The guys are like, look, you can stay in our cabin, but you have to do things for us. Very specific things in the bedroom department. And she's like, oh, do you know what? Fine. And then they're like, you need to be able to cook and clean. And there's some really funny moments because she's like a fucking billionaire. Yeah. She's literally like Taylor Swift. She doesn't know how to cook. She ain't got a fucking clue. So she intentionally, it's so funny in some scenes where she makes them this like fucking dog food dinner, basically. And they're like trying to eat it, and then everyone is sick, and it's just, yeah, it was really funny, actually. So she really does have an attitude problem. Like, she has got some personality and then some. I'm just going to really quickly, before I wrap this one up, I'm really going to quickly talk about the second book. Now, I was holding out. I actually would have been happy to not read the second book, Chrysalis, but I went into it because I really wanted to meet Bane, and I was like, surely when he arrives, like, well, A, it ended on a cliffhanger, and then B, I did really want to meet Bane. And I thought, surely when he arrives, like, things are going to kick off, like, because he's going to be, like, super duper scary. Yeah. Like, really scary. And I thought, oh, are we going to lean back into that kind of, like, more darker romance element? He might be a bit more aggressive, and the guys are going to have to, like, keep them apart and all this kind of stuff. And so before I get to Bane, we do meet Zeke. So Seth kind of goes to sleep. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you would call that. But Zeke comes out, and we spend quite a long time with Zeke. Now, the guys really didn't think that Zeke and her were going to get along. But, you know, actually, from what I experienced of Bane and what I read of Bane, I didn't keep going. Zeke seemed worse. He was being an arsehole. And from the very brief moments we got of Zeke from the beginning, he was very much a bit, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say pitiful, but he was very sort of like very emotional, carried a lot of weight of the trauma and things he had been through, didn't deal with situations well. You know, he was crying in one of the scenes, like that kind of thing. So when he came out and he was a bit of an a-hole to her, and like they really had this kind of like push-pull romance. And then when Bane came out, and like, one of the first things, if you don't want to hear this, I'm not going to fully spoil it because I didn't actually finish the second book, but if you don't want to hear what he was like when he came out, I would say skip the next minute or so. Okay? 3, 2, 1. So when he finally appeared, one of the first things he said to her was like, because he can't speak, apparently, but he did say, mine, you know, like that in the book.
Oh, you told me about this the other day.
And then he was all like, they're in caves, and I'm not going to explain how we got there, but they're in these like caves and stuff like that, and you know, they're out in the wilderness, and he's just basically like following her around like a lost puppy, like he's like protecting her and all this kind of stuff. And I was like,
this is not the right energy.
I've just waited about 800 pages and this is what you're giving me. Actually, Zeke was worse. Zeke was more aggressive. I thought Bane was supposed to be the one that would like shoot her on sight.
And she did not get shot on sight.
No, like, even just like, why, you know, something like, even if he had like come to and then he had like pinned her down, do you know what I mean, quite just aggressively, and then he needed to be ripped off her, and you know, that kind of thing, and then that aggression spiraled into sexual aggression. But it wasn't. It was just a little bit sad, really. Aww. And I didn't read past that. I don't know what would have happened after that. But I just thought, well, if he's like this and he's pandering to her from the very first moment, it's not going to go bad and then get good again, is it? Like, this is obviously setting the standard. So, yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that. Other people might read that and get to that point and be like, oh, the bad guy actually loves her, but I didn't appreciate it myself personally. And that's why I DNF'd it, because it then got to the point where I really had to sit and be like, actually, do I give a shit about the rest of this now? Do I actually care? And I was like, no, I actually don't care. Okay, that's all I've got for Crucible and Chrysalis, to be honest. Would I recommend it? I don't know. Even though I gave it a 4, it was like, maybe. You know, it was giving Credence vibes to begin with, you know, the whole men in the cabin and all that snowed in, except make it why choose. A little bit of like Hills of Shivers and Shadows meets Credence, you know?
That's all right.
With a load of dossing about in the middle.
Right.
You know, there's a whole situation with like a wolf in there as well that was completely fucking pointless.
Yeah.
Especially in book 2. And it turned out that it was like female wolf, she had cubs, and she was coming up to them, but she wasn't a danger. And Aurelia was like, oh no, it's okay, guys. It's fine, she's not a danger. And then it turned out that she'd escaped. The wolf had escaped from some like rescue place. And I was like, okay. What was the purpose? Why did we just spend so long in the woods with this wolf? It was completely fucking... It added no value to the story whatsoever. Added nothing. Unless I'm missing something. I don't know if there's, like, you know, something I'm missing. I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of that. Let's move swiftly on. Okay, let's move on to the last one. So the last one is Doves and Demons by Clio Evans, and it's sitting there right behind here. It's actually part of a duet, but the books are not linked, as in it's not a direct continuation. So there are 2 separate stories with separate characters. I believe just in the same world. So basically, this is a monster romance. I really fucking love this. I had a great time. Again, it's one of those where it's like, was it the best thing I ever read? No. Was it the best monster romance I've ever read? No. But was it a fun time? Fuck yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was a really, really fun time. I loved it. So I'm just going to read it from the back because that'll just be easier. Welcome to London, where the roaring 20s are filled with fangs and freaks. When Irene is kidnapped by a gang of monsters, she is shoved straight into a world of magic and murder. A Mothman, an Unseelie, and a demonic plague doctor. The freaks are a terrifying group ready to wreak havoc on the world that destroyed their humanity. But as these creatures drag Irene into the dark, they crave her soul, mind, and body. The longer these four are together, the faster they fall into a terrifying type of love. Will the demons take the wings from their caged dove, or will they set her free before their world devours her? So, what it doesn't say in here is this is a Jack the Ripper reimagining.
Yeah, and I didn't get that even when I realised that the woman was called Jack and she was part of the Rippers. I still didn't get it. I was like...
Oh, for fuck's sake. So Jack the Ripper was a woman in this, and she was the head of a gang. So you've got the Rippers and you've got the Freaks. And these demons are part of the freaks.
So first up, we've got James, who is the Mothman with a vibrating pee-pee.
This is James.
He is the leader of the pack. So in my eyes, I feel like he looks like the Artful Dodger from Oliver. That was the vibe that he was giving off. Next one is Charles. So he is the Irish Unseelie. He's got a double pee-pee. He falls in love with her immediately. And he wants to keep her as his own. He looks like an angel with 3 eyes on his head. And then after that we had Mort, which was the grumpy demonic plague doctor, who absolutely hates her but can't wait to fuck her with his tentacles. And
I liked him.
Got the black mask.
I liked him a lot.
And then I haven't got her down, but I think she's in there, isn't she?
Yeah, she's here. And that's her.
I'm pretty sure she has purple hair.
Yeah, I think she did. Okay, so Freaks of Nature duet, dual narration, Jack the Ripper reimagining, Why Choose, MMFM, double pen, triple pen, monster romance, only one bed, you're mine. We have a French plague doctor with a large, dark purple, nerdy black peen with ridges at every inch. And we have a three-eyed Irish Unseelie with a black and red two-headed peen, and a Mothman with a knotting, twisting, vibrating peen. And an FMC who is on the run / in hiding with mysterious metal wings on her shoulder blades. So, shall I just read the rundown from here? So we've got 2 fear gangs in London. We've got the Rippers, who are led by Jack the Ripper, who is a woman in this, obviously. And they are made up of monsters and humans who own basically all of London. And they are completely self-serving. And then we have the Freaks, who are led by our 3 monster MMCs, who are less self-serving, but they are more ruthless when people deserve to be killed. Basically, we open with Irene, the FMC, her sister and her brother-in-law in the family home. Irene goes to bed with a tea that's made by her brother-in-law. She doesn't drink it. I think it's obvious where that's going. She hears a bit of commotion later on going down the stairs. She finds her sister on the floor, potentially dead, and her brother-in-law is clearly the culprit. He's ripping apart the house. He's looking for this, second dove. This mysterious dove that everyone's looking for. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know anything about doves. I've no idea what you're talking about. I don't know where there is a dove. Anyway, she goes on the run. She gets captured by the Freaks. She ends up in a coffin for days on end whilst they try and get information out of her. And she is literally like, look, I know nothing. I have zero information. I don't know why you're bothering to torture me, putting me in this coffin. I don't know anything. I've also got major gaps in my memory. She sort of blacks out in between and we don't get that information until later on. And it becomes apparent why. So she starts getting close to Charles, who is the Unseelie at first. He's the one that kind of puts her in the coffin and comes back and forth. And then she ends up alone with James, the Mothman. The leader. He's the leader. He's the leader. He's the leader of the gang. Things get hella heated and they escalate very, very, very fucking quickly. And then she finds herself getting close to Mort, the plague doctor, who, I can't lie, he was scary as shit. He really was scary. Yeah. He was my favourite, but if I actually came face to face with a plague doctor man like that, I would just simply pass away on the spot.
Yeah, it was the French as well.
Yeah. He had a little French accent. Oh, it was great, actually. So yeah, it gets hella spicy then. There's scenes where she's sleeping, there's breeding, there's group scenes, scenes. I mean, all the good stuff, really. I mean, the scenes are really great, actually, between Charles and James. That was delicious. And they have their own, little relationship going on as well. But yeah, although it does get spicy, the plot does still carry along quite nicely at the same time. And it's actually not that long of a book either. So it's actually, you know, it was done quite well, I thought. I have a note here that says, I think the audio is the best way to get the most out of this book because you get all of the accents. Whereas when you're reading it, obviously you're just sort of reading it in your head. So I will say that I think either just audio or immersive, read it, definitely. So my favourite scene was the threesome scene with Charles and James. Charles's peen was wrapped around James.
Oh, that's my favourite scene as well.
And then they went in her, and then James started vibrating his peen. Yeah. I mean, it was fucking nuts. It was absolutely mental. And then also, I've put here, also shout out the group scene at the very end where Mort finally gets involved. Have you got any favourite scenes or quotes you want to talk about?
Oh my God, my favourite scene. So my favourite scene, one of them was that one. My other favourite scene, because I've got 3, obviously, because who wants 1 when you can have 3? My other favourite scene was when James is going to talk to the board. So he's in a meeting and he says, like, so that people know I'm a big deal, you have to pleasure me in front of everyone.
Yeah, that's
so
right, yeah.
She has to suck him off in front of everyone, and it was really
forgot
great.
about that.
And then afterwards, because he's all pent up, he ends up doing her, and then he knots inside her so that the cum can't come out because he wants to breed her. I thought that was fabulous. And he says to her, which is kind of said a few times in the book, and I'm like, maybe I need to get me a monster, about how many times you can come. He says, because once isn't good enough.
Nice, nice.
Anyway, then my second favourite was the James and Charles one with the DVP and the vibrating wraparound PP.
Yep.
And then my next one was, so they have like this little agreement where she can't have sex with any of them. And she tells Mort tells the guys that they can't do her. And I think it was Charles was doing her. And then she's all spent. So she's on the bed, sleeping. And then Mort comes in.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Mort comes in and sticks his tentacles in both of her holes. And then he goes up to her face and starts fucking her face. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm into this.
Yeah.
A lot.
The spice was really good,
It
innit?
was really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were my favourite scenes.
I don't have any favourite quotes down, but I think you can imagine, like Tay said, the kind of crazy shit that was being said
wild.
in this. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
There's so many quotes you could have taken out of it. Yeah. I would highly recommend. I'm 100% going to read the second one. I'm not like in a rush to read it. It's more like one of those things where I'm like, do you know what? I quite fancy something that's batshit crazy now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the second one.
Do you know what? I've had that with every single Clio Evans book I've read, because she does the ones, the cafe monster ones, and then I think there's like another one where it looks like they're in offices, which is another monster situation. And she also does mafia monster ones as well.
Ooh.
I feel like they are just books that you would just read in between doing like a series or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
dip in and out of them.
Yeah.
They're not something that you just binge the whole backlog of.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I don't actually know what's in book 2, but we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
But I think that's everything. I think that's all of our books for today, isn't it?
Did we do ratings?
No, we didn't. Excellent. One is trying to end this too soon. So I gave it 4.5 stars, and I gave it...
Oh, you loved it!
Yeah, I gave it 5 chili peppers.
I gave it 3.5 stars, and I gave it 5 chili peppers.
Yeah, it was fucking mental.
Yeah, it was.
What did you give it? 3.5 stars?
3.5.
Ooh.
I just found it a bit too long for me. I don't know. I think it's because all of her other books are only like 100 pages. So when I went into this, I was like, oh, this is going to be quick fire. And I feel like there was just a lot of filler in it.
I loved it. I thought it was really great.
But I'd gone in thinking a little cheeky novella to...
It definitely could have easily been like 200, 250 pages. It definitely could have been. Yeah. I mean, I had a fucking great time. I loved it. I had a wonderful time. So I think that's it. I think that's us for today. We've been filming for quite a long time because we've had to start with like pee breaks and then also the mic dipping in and out. Our next podcast is Emotionally Devastating, which is wild behaviour because Tia's about to go on holiday and has to read them all while she's away.
Boom! I've actually just finished one. I'm not going to tell you which one.
So I've got One Last Rainy Day all ready to go. Set that aside from last month because that was devastating. Actually, that was life-altering. So I'm excited to do that one. And I'm excited to get into the rest. Anyway, let's wrap this up because all I can think about is how much I want to go and watch some more edits of Gary Graham. So it's niggling in the back of my head and I need to go and get a fucking fix.
I'm going to go on holiday!
Yep. So we'll see you on the other side. Cheers. See you next week.
Clink.